Hey everybody, JC the Sniper, and here I am coming to you again, and today I've got another knife review. So who wants to guess what knife I'm reviewing today? Alright, you got that in your head? Here it is, the Spyderco Stretch. This is a knife I've been wanting for a while, and got some birthday money, a little bit late, but money nonetheless, and I went and picked one of these up. So, I think it's pretty sweet, and here I am getting ready to do this little review video on it. So anyway, that's what we're going to talk about. We'll break down the specs here real quick. Overall length, 7 15/16, so just under 8 inches. Closed length, 4 7/16. Hole diameter, 9/16, 14 millimeters. That's a little bit larger than the standard spider hole, like on the Enduras. Blade length, 3.5 inches. Cutting edge, 3 3/16. So there's a little bit of cutaway there on the cutting edge. Blade thickness, 1/8. Blade steel, this is the VG10 version. Weight, 3.4 ounces, and the handle material is FRN. Alright, so here we go into the review. So first of all, you know, what are you going to do with this blade? What are we going to use it for? Well, I think this is actually a very excellent blade for EDC, possibly even better than my much beloved Enduras. I think for EDC, the Stretch might be even a little bit more appropriate than an Endura. Not that the Endura isn't great, but I think the Stretch in some ways might be more appropriate. However, the Stretch also has a large blade. It comes out fast. It's got good, ergonomics and stuff that we'll talk about. And for those reasons, you could definitely employ this as a tactical blade. That blade and this handle are plenty big enough for you to use that to defend your life with. So, definitely a great EDC blade. Also, I'm going to say a pretty good tactical or defensive blade if you need one. So, just a good all-around blade. Steel and blade shape. This is the VG10 steel, which is a great steel. It's very durable. It's a pretty hard steel, and it takes a razor sharp edge, and this knife is definitely razor sharp as it came out of the box from Spyderco. As I'm pretty sure, all the Spydercos I've had so far have been, and so have my birds. The birds have all come really sharp, and of course they're designed and quality controlled by Spyderco, so pretty much any Spyderco you get is going to come that way as far as I can tell. And this is definitely razor sharp. The VG10 is a great steel. It's rust resistant, it's hard, it's not too bad to sharpen, so good stuff. The blade shape, as you can see here, is kind of it's a little bit reminiscent of the original bird. See that? To me it looks like this bird is almost, yeah, I'm going to pop the camera here because this is kind of interesting. It's almost like these knives, you can see like an evolution. See what I'm talking about? You got the Endura, the bird, and then the Stretch. That's kind of cool. And even with the handles, got the Endura, and then the bird's got that finger choil, a little bit deeper dents down here, and then you've got the Stretch. So, I don't know, I thought that was kind of interesting. Not that the knives, not that it's a better knife or anything in that sense, but it's kind of interesting to see the progression along those blades. So it's it's pretty wild looking, but I think it's kind of a cool blade shape. Personally, I like it. some people might not think it's good looking, but I like the way it looks. And of course, this is full flat ground all the way from here, and I really like that. I'm a big fan of the full flat ground blades, partially for looks, because I think they look really cool, but also because they just slice really well. This blade would be excellent for slicing cheese or meat or something. If you wanted to prepare a meal, you could definitely do it with this. And you can see there's a lot of belly in that blade, significantly more belly than an Endura. You see the belly there, a lot more belly. You got a lot more hook towards that tip. So you get a lot more belly with a Stretch, which makes it a better slicer. You're going to be able to get more wrist action as you slice in a slicing attack, and that's just going to carry on through. And for slicing meats and foods and stuff, you're going to be able to get a better slicing motion. So, you know, that's nice. Also, for EDC, that's a good blade shape. And the way they've done this tip allows you to get a lot of curve there without curving the whole blade up and coming to a real fine point. An example of that would be the cold steel spike scimitar. You know, you get the belly with the scimitar, similar than look at that. You know, very similar bellies there. But the scimitar comes to that real fine point, which probably wouldn't be optimal for EDC, just because it's not going to be the strongest thing in the world. However, with the Stretch, they've dropped that tip, and it makes the tip stronger. So you've got a thicker amount of metal there at the tip, but you still have a nice point. You know, it still comes to a good point. So it's still nice that way. So that's pretty cool. And this also comes in a ZDP 189 steel, which I don't know a whole lot about. I know it's a higher end steel, and I'm sure it's also a good steel. I'm not familiar with it. Don't have any experience with it. Speed for this knife is great. As you can see, I can pop it out there with no wrist action whatsoever. The blade is really well balanced. And supposedly this was a pet project of the owner of Spyderco, and they say on the website it was designed for his use. So you know, if it was designed for his use, and I have no reason to believe they're lying about that, you know, it makes sense that it would be well balanced and you know, come out of the handle nice. But you know, no wrist action required to flip that thing open. The hole is close to the pivot point there, so you can get a good, you know, amount of movement on it, and it comes out quick. I like it. And if you put a little bit of wrist flip in there, it's even faster and easier. But you know, great in that way. A little bit faster than the Enduras, honestly. As you can see, here, let me show you. If you look at those, you can see the pivot hole is mounted closer, or the thumb hole is mounted closer to the pivot on this knife, and that makes it a little bit easier. You don't have to move this as far to get the same movement on that blade, so it pops out real quick. The Endura, a little bit further, you gotta get a little bit more movement to get the same amount of movement with the blade. I can still pop the Endura out with no wrist action, but it's just a little bit more difficult, and it doesn't move quite as fast. However, you get a little bit longer blade with the Endura, so, you know, it is what it is. With my Bird Cara 1, this thing comes out even a little bit faster than my Endura. Still not quite as fast as the Stretch. So very fast deployment speed on the Stretch, and I like that. That's nice. Lockup and strength is a Spyderco. I mean, it's the same lockback design as the Enduras, and the strength of the lockup is going to be just as good. There's no wiggle whatsoever in this blade. None up and down, side to side. It locks up tight. I didn't have to play with the pivot at all. If I needed to, I could, because it's screw construction, but I didn't need to. So good strength. Handle material, as I've previously stated, is FRN, same as the other Enduras, you know, same as the Bird series, same as Kershaw's, some of the Kershaw knives, the Oh So Sweet. You know, it's a popular material, and it's good. It's just a good material. It doesn't break. It's cold and heat resistant. You know, it's great as long as it's textured properly. And Spyderco does it well with that volcano grip. Real grippy in there. You know, holds your hand in nicely. No problems with that. And of course, there are skeletonized steel liners in there, which you can't see real great because it's kind of dark over here and I don't have a flashlight on me. But it does have skeletonized steel liners, and they are actually quite well skeletonized. I'm going to grab a flashlight real quick and show you guys this. Alright, let's see if this makes a difference. Using a mini mag light here. Yeah, you maybe see a little bit down there, but they've cut out big old ovals in that steel liner, rather than the circles and stuff that a lot of people do. The Endura has little circles cut in it, also a couple larger sections, but basically they've removed almost as much, I mean they've removed about as much metal as they can from the liners in this thing. And of course, removing that metal serves to lighten the blade, so that's pretty cool. Yeah, and that's why a blade of this size, they can make it weigh 3.4 ounces. A little bit lighter than the Enduras. These are about 3.8. So, ergonomics are really good. You've got a little forward finger choil here, and a really nice jimped thumb ramp, jimped finger choil, and it's very purposeful jimping, so you can get up here up front. Of course, with a Spyderco, you can just hold up here even if you don't have that finger choil. But you do, so if you need to come forward on the knife, you can come up here. For employing it in a tactical usage, I wouldn't do this because you want reach. For EDC though, it could be helpful if you want to do some real fine cutting or really fine tip work. That could be useful. For then the handle, you can see, has these nice sweeping cutouts here, and then this real rounded back. More so than the Enduras, you know. The handle's also a little bit wider than the Enduras, and it just fills your hand really nicely. When you hold it right here, it feels great. You know, you get that, your fingers lay in here nicely, your palm goes around that, and it feels really nice in your hand. And you know, real quick to come out, so you pop it open, and you're right there to go into that gripping position, and real good grip on that FRN, so that's pretty cool. And then if you want to, you can choke back, and you can wrap these two fingers right here. Your pinky kind of lays off the edge, and this finger locks in front of the second hump there, or I guess the first hump, but in front of that hump rather than up here. So you lock in right here, and that extends your reach, and you can still get a really good grip on the knife. So, you know, that's pretty cool.